What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now. I'm Alex, and in this video, I want to give kind of an update to previous insider talk on the PlayStation State of Play showcase. And spoilers, it still seems like they don't know which one they're going to do. We'll say specifically, the quote here from Jeff Grubb, who really has been keeping, I think almost largely just him, has been keeping the train moving that, hey, are they going to do a State of Play showcase? We've heard from him before that it seems like kind of a toss-up that they might do one or the other, and they normally do one late May, early June. Makes a lot of sense with Summer Game Fest is in early June, the Xbox event is in early June, Nintendo is releasing a freaking console in early June. PlayStation needs to do something. That's my personal opinion. You are free to disagree with me, but I just feel like everybody's gonna kind of have a go of early June, and if PlayStation just completely misses it, I just don't think that's a great look. So let's read this quote here. This originally, I guess, comes from Rhino on Twitter, but again, comes from Jeff Grubb. Internally, it seems like they, Sony, are torn between holding a full showcase this summer and another State of Play, but they are definitely considering such an initiative. And if they're doing a showcase, that means they'll have a lot to say. So, I guess in the past, and I'm going to take this literally word for word, or assuming all of it is exactly as he means it. So before it was like showcase or State of Play. Now it seems like State of Play for sure, and then also potentially a showcase, right? Now I think, by the way, if you do something like that, I would set your expectations at a ground level 0 for the State of Play, because that would just kind of seem to me like a contractual, and we've seen it before, right? Where they have to literally, by contract, do a State of Play for some of their partners, okay? That's how I think you would fill out a State of Play. And then the showcase, yeah, that's when you would obviously do some of the big guns. Now, I think the whole, and if they're doing a showcase, that means they'll have a lot to say. I don't think that takes a rocket scientist to come up with, right? We keep saying it over and over and over. They will eventually, they could right now, they will eventually have a lot of things to show. We talk about a game like Wolverine that's just missing in action. They could absolutely, Cory Barlog's game, the list actually would go on, but you have so much that you could throw together an entire, presentation just on it. It just, I don't know. I feel like the way they do things now, and that's a big part of it. You could talk about, there's actually several reasons, right? Like one of which, of course, is they're pushing to live service that couldn't, I think, have failed more and resulted in all of these different games getting canceled. They, I think, factually just don't have a lot that's going on right now. They once had, say, 3, 4, 5 live service games that are now canceled. Those were games you'd be able to show and promote and eventually release. Now you don't have them. I don't think that's a bad thing necessarily, right? It could absolutely be for the better, but you have to restart now. A lot of these projects start at 0, and, you have to give them years. So you have that one issue. That's a big problem. And then the second thing, which, again, debatable if you even want to call it a problem. Some people might actually look at it as a good thing. They hold on to things closer to their chest than they did in the past, right? They, you think about the lead up to God of War Ragnarok, I think is a really good example. That game's enormous. It's God of War, right? And you look at how they handled that. They really did not show a lot of it until like a month before that game came out. Like really, there was people that were concerned. I think I actually made a video talking about people's concerns at the time because they just handled it very differently than they did, say, 5-6 years ago, right? This is kind of a different era. So you combine those two things. You combine, and you could do like a third thing that games just take freaking forever to make nowadays, right? Games that take 6-7 years. A lot of studios are starting over because so many live service games were canceled. And you hold on to things longer than you would previously. And what that leads you is you really never have to show like 5,000 things in one show. Now, those could also just be a lot of excuses. You look at the Xbox event in June, not to make this like a console warrior thing, but Xbox, I think, has historically, especially the last 2-3 years, unbelievably good show. Like absolutely crushed the show in June. And they do show 20-30 things, and some of those things are a while away, but they have done it really, really well. So there's technically no like one perfect strategy, but again, doesn't take a rocket scientist. Of course, if they do a showcase, they got a lot to show. If they don't do a showcase, they end up doing a State of Play. I feel like that would kind of also work too, depending on what you show, because you really, I think Wolverine desperately needs an update, right? And then like Ghost of Yote, but we know when that comes out. Death Stranding 2, like that is coming out. So if this thing is before Death Stranding 2, I guess you could show that, but you don't need to. There's not too much, right? Maybe like third party type things that or second party, right? Like exclusive to the PlayStation console. I'm sure there's stuff. And again, like back to that point, if they do a showcase, I mean, they might show 4 or 5 exclusives of theirs, and then you'd have to really start reaching out to the, other studios to have some of those games as well. But they're running out of time. I will say that if they truly are like every day going to like meetings debating on what to do, these things take a while to put together. From the time they decide to the time that it actually comes out, I mean, you don't have that much time. Again, specifically like early around this time next month, all of these things would have happened. The Switch 2 is out, Summer Game Fest is over by now, and the Xbox event has already happened 1 month from now. So, yeah, I mean, you could go after, that's for sure. You could go like late June, but, to wait and wait and wait, I mean, that's really what they've been doing, what we've been doing for so long. So let me know what you guys think in the comments. Make sure, as always, you're subscribed to the channel, bell icon turned on. I hope to see you all on the next one.